you racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome to Monza for something completely different. The Pro Truck Showdown, if I can get my words out, heads to Monza, but instead of running what you would expect, being the GP layout or something similar, we are going to the oval, but not the normal NASCAR style oval. We're turning right. It's going to be a very, very wild night. We haven't got a very big field, but from practice, what we've seen is that the drivers are very, very capable, and we're going to have some great racing here on SimSpeed TV. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me for this special event, Cameron Dance. Cam, it's going to be an absolute load of fun. From what we've seen in practice, it is going to be a very, very cool show.
It certainly is, and it's very, very different indeed with the fact that it's trucks on an oval, but nevertheless, it's going to be a very, very interesting show from these drivers, and really looking forward to it because based on practice, it's just a matter of bump drafting each other and seeing who can push the fastest.
Exactly right. The drivers are in qualifying at the moment, and they all get one flying lap only. We only have a field of 11 drivers. As Lockie Dalton crosses the line, he goes P1, first driver to actually cross the line. Todd Maxfield is having some tech issues, so he might not get a lap time in, as we just see Nathan Verney cross the line. And he will go to start a flying lap. So let's watch this lap. A good chance to actually have a look at how this truck's going to handle it. But one thing we did see, they were very, very clean in practice, Cam, and they were bump drafting as well. So I think probably with a smaller field, it might actually make it a little bit better racing.
Yeah, certainly. It's one of those things where it's not always that a small field is a bad thing. So, yeah, it's going to be quite fascinating to see what happens. And they certainly were bump drafting. I mean, there was packs of them, whether it be 3 or 4 cars deep, 2 by 2, where they were just constantly going the whole way around, bump drafting each other, even through the corners, which you typically wouldn't normally find in other sort of cars, but they've managed to make it happen. Yeah, it's going to be very much a matter of pushing the guy in front of you and pushing the guy behind you.
And of course, this is a special event tonight, so the season finished last week, so congratulations to Aaron Dillon for picking up the championship. And next week, I believe we start season proper again. Looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Maybe the week after. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check with that one, but Nathan Verney crosses the line and will slot into nowhere. 8th. That took a little wild update, didn't it?
Certainly didn't. Barely just over a 10th behind Aaron Dillon as well. It's so close in qualifying. There's absolutely nothing in it between first and last currently.
Yep. And interesting too, we're talking about bump drafting. The times we will see in the racing will be around about 2 to 3 seconds quicker than what we'll see in qualifying. The truck's doing around 220 in the draft or with bump drafting assistance, so reaching about 217 down the straight without the draft. Now, speaking about format as well, we'll have our normal format we have in this series, so a 5-lap race, a 6-lap reverse grid, and then an 8-lap feature, which means it'll be all wrapped up very, very quickly as Justin Howe crosses the line and will slot into 11th.
Didn't even get a time in the end, unfortunately, due to the way the ticker ran out. So, yeah, we'll see what happens from 11th place, but certainly the grid is as follows. It's Lockie Dalton and Todd Maxfield on the front row, Philip Howe and Dwayne Priest on row 2, row 3, Cade Donnelly and Damon Westbrook, Aaron Dillon and Nathan Verney on row 4, row 5, Dylan Legard and Daniel Aish, and then obviously running up the 12 at Carfield, Justin Howe and Nicholas Walsh.
So we'll have a lap behind the iRacing pace truck. We'll have that for each of the 3 races. So looking around about a 6-minute race, 6 to 7 minute race 1, a 7 to 8 minute race 2, race 3. It's now showing that it's a 6-lap race this race 1, so just confused the timing up on us, but either way, it's going to be fantastic racing. These have put on an absolute show throughout the season that we saw that has just been completed. So to now see them doing something a little bit different before we get back into another season proper, it's going to be very, very cool.
Certainly, it was a very, very entertaining first season of these vehicles, and you couldn't find anything better in terms of a series. I don't think, in terms of the way the racing was and how close it was between majority of the field. We just had everybody nose to tail and more or less getting their elbows out and really rubbing up against each other. So it was, yeah, really, really cool to see, and certainly looking forward to the next season and what it's going to bring. I mean, hopefully the numbers do increase even more compared to what they were, but yeah, looking forward to it, absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty much 20 car fields every week, 20 truck fields pretty much every week, so no surprise to see a little bit of a smaller field for a special event around a track that seems a little bit out there, but I think that's been the part of the series that's been cool, is you look at the track on paper, you're like, that's not going to work in these things, and it's turned on an absolute show. It's been an amazing few weeks that we've had with this series.
Certainly, some of the track combos have gone to a little bit long or sometimes a little bit short, and you kind of look at them with their head tilted a little bit and question it, but it certainly has turned it on in the end, which is really, really good to see, and exactly what you want at the end, and it really mixes it up as a result, because it's a combo that not really many people would think is a thing, so it really throws the cat amongst the pigeons for sure, and certainly makes it quite interesting.
Yep, definitely does. It's been a really, really cool series, and we will have next season here on SimSpeed TV starting very, very soon, but front row, Dalton and Maxfield into a little bit of heat in the tyres there is Lockie Dalton from the inside of the front row. Very, very cool looking field. We said 3 races all back to back, so no break in between other than basically to get yourself on the grid, and we will obviously have a pace lap, but other than that, your 3 races are literally back to back to back.
That's what makes it quite interesting about this series, is that there's no real break in between each race, so it's literally do one race and then get straight back into it sort of thing. So it does certainly keep the drivers busy and keep them in check the whole time. But yeah, it's one of those things that really is one of those things you don't really find out there, and it really mixes it up.
We're about to come out of Oval 4 around this historic facility at Monza. The RS and Pace truck will pull over, and away we go. Dalton's already gone. Todd Maxfield will have to try and come back, as he does with a little bit of help there from Dane Priest. And also there on the outside, Damien Westbrook going to help, and now we're 3 cars deep. Bump drafting, and there's a car already upside down.
That is, I believe that's Nathan Verney, and then you've got a few others as well getting caught up in it. You've got Dylan Legard involved as well, caught up in the arm cut at the top of the oval on the way into turn number 1, unfortunately. So a few drivers ending up getting caught up in different incidents there, but it's certainly all on front of the field. 3, nearly 4 wide, in fact, on the way down the back straight.
A tyre bundle where the wall sticks out. That's turn 1, and there's also a tyre bundle coming up here on the inside into 3 and 4. They are the danger points for these drivers. Other than that, I think based on the little bit of a lower pace, these trucks aren't too bad. They're just going to be fairly smooth, and as long as they don't do anything silly while they're pushing each other, we should see some fairly good racing. And one thing we have seen throughout all of the races we've seen in this series is that when there is a little bit of push and shove, they have been fairly easy to regain control of.
Yeah, they certainly have. There's been no sudden loss of control or big moments where someone ends up spinning out or anything. Everybody sort of seems to more or less be able to keep them under control. I guess that's one of the things about these trucks, and the fact that they're not on slick tyres or anything, and they're on dirt tyres, which are a little bit more forgiving in terms of their slip angle and everything. It really does mean that you're able to sort of push and shove each other a little bit more than what you normally would with a typical race car sort of thing.
You saw there Dylan Legard on the guard. In the arm covers, also see Nicholas Walsh has had a moment. He's facing the wrong direction, so he'll rejoin. But the front of the field, I should say, still 7 cars deep. 3 wide again down the back straight. I think the back straight's probably a little bit more relaxing than the front straight. The front straight is a real nervous little area here at Monza because it's not a huge length straight as such. It's almost two separate straights where you've got a little kink in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's one of those weird things about this oval, I guess, is it's got that sort of kink in it where it really does make you actually keep your head up instead of sort of looking around and making sure what's happening behind you, as you've actually got to make sure that you don't end up hitting that tile that they've just gone by. So it really is one of those tricks. On in the grass, that's the car of, I think, Daniel H there, and they're still sideways. He's barely going to hold it. No, he's not, and they're all in the fence and upside down.
Reese has got through that, Aish has got through that, Hal of the Phillip variety has semi got through that, so we've now got a very, very split up field. These guys at the back, if they can get themselves into a 2-car group or a 3-car group and actually work together, they can still close that gap. Phillip Hal only 2.5 seconds back in this race at the moment, but the field has spread a lot more than I was expecting it would. Interesting too, lap times, I said that they were around about 2 seconds quicker, 2.25 seconds quicker than qualifying.
Yeah, certainly the bump drafting and the draft effect really causing those lap times to drop a lot compared to what it would be in a single car sort of situation like it was in qualifying, and now you're going to have Daniel H all over the back of Dwayne Priest for the race lead. They're going to be bump drafting as well, so it's going to make it even harder for those who have been caught up in the field, and there was a little bit of contact between the two of them as well on the way down the front straight B. It's certainly going to make it a little bit more difficult for those further behind to try and catch up with the fact that these two are working together.
Yep, exactly right. These two come together and are working smart. Bump drafting, side drafting, not fighting too hard. Nash is going to go straight around the outside and take away the lead. We are past halfway, 2.5 laps to go, and this is not over between these two. And saw how easy it was to have a big pack come together. Any overly aggressive contact between Aish and Priest here could mean that Phillip Howell, Todd Maxfield, Lockie Dalton in those next groups are back in this fight. They're not out of the race. The win isn't done just between these two. There's still half the field that could win this race.
Yes, certainly. All it's going to take is for a small mistake or a moment between those in front of them to end up being back into the fight of the lead of this race. So it really is going to be a matter of just working together and not being too overly aggressive with each other. These two, a little bit of a bump over on the exit of the oval there for Daniel Aish, but going to drop alongside him on the way down the front straight is Dwayne Priest, and he's going to retake this lead by the looks of it on the way into turn at number 1, and Aish is going to probably slot him behind. He's going to try and hold it around the outside of him, but let's say it's probably going to be in favour of Dwayne Priest based on the way that he's going on that low side of the track. He's actually on the apron now, theoretically, but certainly is still making it work, and Aish is actually going to end up driving around the outside of him by the looks of it based on momentum.
Yeah, we saw that last lap as well. Remember, we saw that Priest was on the inside, Aish was on the outside and got it to work around the outside. I think the apron probably is a bit too low. You lose too much momentum at the end of the apron. Great at the start, but by the end you've lost so much speed for the guys that are up high. Interesting too, speeds are saying they were getting maybe 217, 218 without draft. These guys here almost hit 230 there while they were bump drafting.
Yes, it really does show the difference between being in a single car or a single car draft and then actually being able to push each other along with a bit of bump drafting. So really is showing that these two are actually really helping each other with the fact that they're working together so well, and what they're doing is really just going to be making them pull away from everybody else even more.
The reason we were confused during qualifying is because they are running the finish line that is the start line for what we would normally see at this circuit, because they're running the oval, they're not running the Grand Prix circuit. So the finish line is halfway down the front straight, right at the pit exit wall. Priest versus Aish back in the same spot they were the lap previous. I think that the fact that the finish line is a lot further down the straight than we had originally thought means that not quite as bad to be in second place coming out of turn 4, because the draft is strong enough that it could pull you up to overtake by the finish line.
Yeah, certainly, and really does offer up a much closer photo finish as well as a result, and being able to give that driver in second place a little bit more of a chance of being able to make it happen. But with it being the final lap, it is going to be a race, that drag race to the finish line between these two, between Aish and Priest is going to try and use that high line, square it off a little bit and try and keep the momentum flowing and then use the draft down the front straight. Coming out of turn number 4 on the oval, and it looks like Priest is just going to be able to use the draft. He's going to pull out and just barely clear. He's going to make contact with H. So on the way down the front straight, and it's barely going to be in favour of Dwayne Priest in the end as they cross the line.
What a finish. 2/100ths of a second separating those two drivers. On 2 between Howe and Maxfield. They got within 2/10 of each other in there. In 5th place, Lockie Dalton. He has stopped. I think he stopped too early. I think he stopped at the wrong line. He's going to lose 2 spots in the end. Dalton's going to finish 7th. Westbrook and Dylan both get past. But race 1 goes to Dane Priest. And race 2 coming up very, very shortly. But here is the race 1 results. Priest Aish separated by 2/200ths, 29 thousandths of a second. Philip Howe, Todd Maxwell, then Westbrook, Dylan, Dalton, Walsh, Howe, Verney. And we go over the page to Lagarde and Donnelly. Guess what we do now? Let's flip that order and do it all over again. This is going to be a very, very good fight. Watching those guys that just did really well at the front come through the field. But the field is going to be very mixed because remember that accident means that those guys that were in that accident are going to be starting up towards the front. So it's going to be a very, very mixed up grid.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's going to give them a bit more of a chance to try and win this one this time instead of being involved in all the carnage that ensued in that first race. So certainly really is going to give them a very, very fighting chance at possibly winning this. They've got an extra 2 laps as well to try and make it happen, but we'll have to wait and see what happens and whether the likes of Asian Press can work together again to try and take another 1-2 finish.
So 8 laps for the second race of the night. Heat 2, or I don't know how we even describe the race. I guess it's race 2, I guess is the best way, isn't it?
Yeah, probably the best way of putting it is the second race. Yeah.
It looks like we don't have Cade Donnelly who's decided to not take part in this one, so Dylan Lagarde will have the effective pole position. Nathan Verney, he'll be looking to get a little bit further than right here on lap 1 this time. No one in front of him, so in saying that no one in front of him doesn't necessarily help him, does it? He'll get punted from behind and pushed into the wall.
Yes, certainly. Don't really want to end up in the wall, get involved in any incidents, especially with how compacted the racing is around here. So really is a matter of keeping the nose clean and making sure you're not involved in any sort of carnage that ensues and keeping yourself up there for the final lap, I guess.
If you do want to be a part of this series, there are details on Facebook, on the iRacing Down Under and iRacing Australia Facebook groups. We will also put the Discord details into the YouTube description, and also join up. And as we said, next season will be starting very, very soon, so make sure you do sign up, be a part of it. It's going to be a very, very cool series when we get out there again next time. As I just noticed, you just see Lockie Dalton just switching lanes and nearly causing havoc there, crashing into people. I mean, these guys have fun, but a little bit crazy out there considering we're under under the pace lap at the moment.
Yeah, certainly having a little bit of fun out there at the moment with what they're doing. They're all nearly actually running into each other as well. So a little bit of gamesmanship, I guess you could say, and a little bit of fun happening under the pace lap. But certainly it's going to get into it when we go green. They're already crashing into each other as well. So they're certainly messing around under safety car, but certainly going to get heated and certainly going to get more serious when we start to go racing when we go green in a very few minutes.
Of course, we will have the main event coming up after this as well. Guard now taking the ineffective starting position from P1, Nathan Verney. We get the green flag right about now, and the guard covers across very, very quickly, which I don't think is too bad an idea. Verney will be having flashbacks though, because he's now got a car right in front of him, but he's made sure he's not going to hit that wall. Taken to the grass through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, certainly not the wall this time by at least. So going to be a nice clean start for everyone in this field. And it looks like there's actually a little bit of 3 wide going on, possibly 4 wide nearly, but they're all bunched up together and really trying to make their way through the field.
Very, very tightly bunched group at the moment. Dalton back into the lead. Remember, he was pole in race 1. He's already taken the lead. It's taken him 2 corners to take the lead away. But I must say, Justin Howe giving a big push. It's just in the background there, into the wall. That was that Dane Priest? Todd Maxfield. He's out.
Yeah, a little bit of contact between Todd Maxfield, unfortunately, and someone else. I think it was Aaron Dillon. Possibly even Nathan Verney. No, Verney was just ahead. So yeah, it was Nicholas Walsh by the looks of it making contact, unfortunately, with Maxfield. So Maxfield's going to have to go back to pit lane, and they're all going on. It's full wide down the front straight.
This is crazy.
Oh no!
Oh no, Verney. Oh, Aish is in the wall. He's gone. See you, mate. That's a huge hit. He's been set into space. You can still see him in the background. So Lockie Dalton now leads this race. That was huge.
Absolutely sick.
Oh my. I wasn't ready for that. I've got nothing more to say. Lockie Dalton does lead. You see there's 2 names ahead. That's Dylan Lagarde and Daniel Aish. They are both in the pits. And I mean, no surprise to see Aish in the pits. Justin Howe now takes the lead away. Just is getting a little bit of help from Aaron Dillon. Bump drafting very, very hard at the moment. They're pushing him very, very aggressive. I'm actually surprised at how aggressive these guys are pushing.
Oh, and that's getting loose. Is how nearly from contact from Dillon, and now Westbrook and Lockie Dalton going to move to the front of this field. Dalton now in first, and gets bumped from Justin Howe. They're going to be bumping all the way down the front straight. And Aaron Dillon's really left with nowhere to go. Gets bumped from Nathan Verney from behind. 3 wide down the front straight to turn number 1. Someone's going to have to give it barely. Going to make it on through towards turn 1. And Dalton's going to cop a whack. And that's Aaron Dillon, Benson, and Justin Howe as well.
You could see that coming. It almost happened in slow motion in the end. We knew that big wreck was about to happen. Half of our field is wiped out again. Verney continues on. He'll be happy he's actually having a little bit of a race. I must say Philip Howe's done well because he's got out of that again into a potential podium position. But Dwayne Priest, Damien Westbrook, Priest could go for 2 for 2 here. We did see a few winners in all 3 races in last season, in the season proper. So there is a precedent for drivers to come from last to first in the second race.
Yeah, 100%. It's very, very possible, but at the moment, Westbrook and Priest really trying their best to try and pull away from the pack of Verney and Howe behind. And those 2 working together as well, so they might actually be able to catch up to the 2 ahead of them if they continue to work very, very well together. And there's contact between the 2 at the Priest and Westbrook, getting a little bit swirly there, but these 2 behind Howe and Verney actually really working together quite well, not being too aggressive with the bump drafting, but doing it just enough so they can start to try and catch those 2 ahead. It was the 13.09 last time by for Nathan Verney, unfortunately, due to what happened, but certainly starting to slowly close that gap up to the 2 ahead.
Jump on board with Dwayne Priest. Keep an eye on that gap to that group behind. It's currently 1.3 seconds. So they gained 3 tenths just through turns 1 and 2. Incredible the amount of pace that they're gaining just from driving smart, I guess. These guys are fighting a bit hard. Priest has actually backed out of that to make sure that he doesn't get ahead at the wrong spot. I don't think he wants to take the lead. I think he wants his secondary group to close up, make it a 4-car group for the win.
Could be very possible, and it was actually quite a speed differential on the way into turn number 3 as well. I think it was 8, whereas Priest was only doing about 222, 223, so it really is working that bump drafting now. They're close right up onto the tail of this lead group here. Now it's going to be 2x2 bump drafting across the line on the way down into turn number 1. No one's really getting scored, so being nice and behaved. Howe's going to move to the inside, though, nearly makes it 3 wide, but slots him behind.
This is basically the field that we've got left in this race. There's 5 cars left in the event. Nicholas Walsh is almost a full lap behind, almost half a lap behind, I should say. So he's just past the start-finish line now. So this is the 4-car battle for the win. Philip Howe, fastest car on track last lap. And Verney, almost identical lap times. That's nearly 3 seconds quicker than what we saw in qualifying.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's absolutely rapid time in terms of the lap time difference between qualifying and the race pace at the moment. Although it's no surprise with the fact that this little group is really compact and there's basically no drag happening for the likes of Reese, who are tucked up right behind 2 cars in front of them. So really are taking advantage of that draft of these 2 behind. But it's going to be another 2x2 out of the final corner this time by the end. We have about 2 to 3 laps left this time around. So it's still a patience game, and really it's going to be a matter of working together these 4.
Almost feels like a Daytona 500. You know, you don't want to be in the lead coming up with a couple of laps to go, and really are pacing themselves trying to work out where the best spot to be. But we've seen that the draft is strong enough that you can slingshot yourself past before the start finish line on that final lap. We've already seen it in race 1. I don't even know who you think would be in the best spot here. I don't think I'd want to be any of them the way that they're driving at the moment. You'd almost want to be a 5th car back, like a 3rd car back, even a 5th driver in this group, and that would nearly be the best spot. But Philip Howe looks like he's got this worked out. He's just happy tucked in behind. Been working on that inside line when he's free, just to see where he can get through. But he looks very, very comfortable there.
He certainly does, and he's backed off a little bit as well at the moment on the way through turn. Possibly trying to test a few waves of setting up the run, and a little bit of side-by-side contact between Westbrook and Priest as well through turn 3 and 4, but certainly is possibly just setting up that exit for turn number 4, and here he goes. He's going to move to the inside. No, he's not. He's going to give a little bit of a bump draft to Westbrook and pushing him across the line. A little bit of a hit as well from Vernie on Priest, and that's going to allow him to get into the lead of the race. So a little bit of working together here, and I guess it's a matter of who's going to push the hardest.
Yep. 2 more laps. Vernie just scrapes the wall, and Howe takes to the apron. Don't see too much movement here. Interesting too. Maxfield and Lagarde have both got back out on track. Remember, race 3 coming up after this will start from the finishing order of race 2, so it's not a bad idea if you can get back out there. Just get yourself 1 or 2 spots if you can.
Yeah, certainly. It's very much one of those things about the series is that while you... Oh, and that's a big moment for Westbrook making side-by-side contact with Priest, and now he's going to fall back to 3rd now, possibly even 4th, with the fact that he's lost all that momentum, and now Nathan Vernie is going to be in for a shot here, and no, in the wall as well.
Westbrook just shot Howe straight up into the wall, and now Westbrook gives a little bump to Dane Priest, who's just holding on side-by-side contact. Tell you what, Philip Howe probably is happy he's dropped back a bit, because these guys have just gone crazy. One lap to go, white flag in the air in race number 2. Maxfield and Lagarde also out there now battling for 6th and 7th. They are nose to tail, but they're going to stay with this because this is crazy, this is chaos, and this is going to be very, very exciting all the way to the finish line. Westbrook, Vernie, Priest, Howe, 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment.
Howe's probably in the best position as well. He's probably going to get the biggest draft as well with the fact that he's so far back and there's 3 cars ahead of him, so he could be in a very good position here, and he's starting to close up on the 2 ahead of him. He looks to the outside and on the way down the back straight into turn 3. Vernie on the inside of him. And they're still pushing at the front of the field between Westbrook and Priest. So it's going to be a matter of who's going to end up doing what. As Powell looks like he might be able to get a run.
Might be right here.
Turns 3 and 4, he's looking like he's a little far enough back, but possibly not, and Westbrook's going to get loose on the way through 3 and 4, but he might just hold on to this, and Priest is going to look to the outside on the way down the front straight. Is he going to have enough? No, he's not, because here comes Philip Howe bumping Westbrook, and he's going to hold on to it.
What a finish there. Westbrook, Priest, Howe, and Vernie as Philip Howe sets our first 8 we've seen in this event, including in practice. We didn't see anyone get close to an 8 in practice, so great job from him. Nicholas Walsh is going to be our last finisher. Well done to him for staying on the lead lap. It would be tough being out there as a solo car, driving around, not seeing a single truck, and I'm now seeing the damage on his truck. No surprise to see that his pace is a fair way off. Race 3, what are we going to see in race 3? I'm excited now. Not far away from it happening as Walsh crosses the line. We've got Maxfield come across in 6th and Dylan Lagarde in 7th. That will be our field that will finish the race. Yeah, gonna have 1 more to go.
And it's going to be 12 laps for the feature, so going to be very, very much a busy time, and certainly going to be a lot of opportunity to try and win this one.
So drivers will go out there for a little bit of a 5-minute warm-up and expression session. We need to thank all of the sponsors and supporters of this series. Scanana Coffee Mug. We also need to thank... where's my list gone? Allstate Security Tasmania, and also Hot Toddy's Heating Installs for their support of this series. That is how baby trucks are made, I believe. I think that's how the Pro 2 Lite comes about, isn't it?
Probably correct. Probably not a politically correct description, but certainly one way of describing it. That's for sure.
Oh! I don't know if I'm going to be able to find and get any replays queued up. I'm going to try and see if we can get a replay of that incident where we saw... What was it that got shot into space? Let me try and remember what that was. It was...
Daniel H, if I'm not
Actually,
mistaken.
You are correct. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, but I think if it works, this is going to be brilliant. If it doesn't work, absolute waste of time. Let's see.
The side contact moves straight across, nearly onto the junior circuit, and then uses him as a ramp on the way by, nearly clears the timing tower.
That was not what I was expecting to see from that. Okay, we are rewinding and getting another look at that.
I think he actually did clear the timing tower based on the height. I'm actually going to have a look because it was very, very close, I reckon, to actually of making it over the timing tower, I believe.
That was a crazy incident, and I tell you what, that was a pretty exciting moment. I mean, it did change the whole race in regards to how many cars we had finished, or trucks we had finished, but the height!
Yeah, certainly there's some big height. He actually did, and he cleared basically the entire... all the trees, in fact, so he got some ridiculous height. Probably actually may as well have been the camera chopper.
Welcome to the iRacing Not Top 10. But we got a replay for that one anyway. We come back live. The driver's just out there getting a little bit of a feel for the circuit. As we said, 12 laps ahead for these guys. So I think we might see a little bit of a slower pace. I think the guys will realise, hang on, this is a fairly decent length race. What's going to be about 13 or 14 minutes, but he's saying that coming out of the pits like that, maybe we won't see anything like that.
It's very, very possible we won't, but we might. Who knows? It's really going to make the big question, and one that's unknown, really.
The drivers have decided to not take to the circuit during this year because they want to probably save their luck for the actual race proper, because a few drivers that have had a fair bit of bad luck in tonight's racing so far. Wayne Priest, he's had a fair bit of good luck though. We're looking to capitalise once again.
Yeah, certainly. He's had some pretty decent results so far. He's had a first and a second, so will certainly be at the top of the point sheet for tonight at least, and he'll be hoping to try and make it 2 wins, if not at least win this round well and truly.
Yeah, he'll be aiming for that round win for sure, but not too far away. Getting in, 1 minute left before we get to our grid for the main event of the night. And as we said earlier, make sure you do jump on to the Discord for this series and get yourself signed up for the next season proper, which starts very, very soon, Wednesday nights here on SimSpeed TV. We will have it all once again, because this has been probably our biggest surprise packet we've seen in all time. We weren't sure what to expect, but we knew that it was going to be fun. I think we've been blown away, as well as people watching, by how fun this series has been.
Yes, certainly. It's been a very, very entertaining series, and it's had a lot of drama and very, very exciting moments throughout the series as well, with all the various different races that we've had and the different winners as well. So, yeah, it's really, really unpredictable, and it's probably one of the good things about this series as well. The fact that it's so unpredictable is the fact that you don't know who's going to win, and really does offer up the opportunity for basically anyone to end up capitalising and winning a race.
Checker flag is out for the warm-up, the expression session. You can see the smoke billowing down the pit lane. Someone will be down there to put that fire out as we get ready and into final race of the night. Westbrook, Priest, Phillip Howe, Bernie, Walsh, all the 5 that finished on the lead lap there. Maxfield and Guard. Got Dalton, Howe, Dylan and Aish. Kate Donnelly we may see back out on the track for this main event. We're not sure. Either way, we're going to see a lot of fun. As we said, 12 laps ahead for the drivers. It's going to be chaos. This is going to be fun. I am looking forward to this one.
Yeah, certainly really looking forward to this one as well. The fact that it's a little bit of a longer race and it's hopefully going to mean a little bit more cleaner racing. We're going to have a few more cars finishing on the lead lap and with the lead pack. But so far in those last 2 races, I think it's probably going to be a expectation that's a little bit too high.
We're actually 10 lap race, so our info's been wrong again because when we first joined, we were looking at it as a 5, 6, and 8 lap event, and then it went 6, 8, 12, and now it's 6, 8, 10. So the info we get sent through iRacing sometimes plays a little bit of a havoc to us to know exactly what the format is, but it doesn't really matter that way anyway, because it's going to have a pretty cool race coming up regardless of how it's one lap race. It's pretty exciting, and I think 10 laps will be a very, very cool length for this main event.
It didn't really matter how many laps it would be as well, like you said, it was still going to be entertaining. Probably pretty hard to do this 1 lap, but certainly still entertaining nevertheless.
There are some pace truck leads him down the back straight. Priest. Nice to see that we haven't seen Lucky Dalton swerving and nearly hitting someone as he flicks the rear of the truck. Oh, there we go, right on cue. There was the little flick. Didn't hit anyone. So, safe for now. And Kate Donnelly has decided to not take to the grid. I don't know how effective those flick spins are to gain heat into those rear tyres. I've got to do a fair few of them to actually get any heat into those tyres.
It's not really getting too much angle on this. It's certainly probably more doing the surface harm than the actual corporate tyre heat would. Enjoy those pace laps, and it's a little bit of a long pace lap as well. Kind of is a little bit boring while you're out there, but we'll certainly see what happens when they get going into replay racing.
Turns 3 and on to turn 4. We'll see the the green flag when they cross the start line. Coming up as Westbrook went and then realised that was the wrong start line, or the wrong line, and now he's gone. Green flag is in the air, and he's lost the lead of the race. What a margin.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of confusion there, unfortunately, for Westbrook, and he's going to have lost out big time. Oh, and that's the actual track, so he's going to have to, unfortunately, do a bit of a reverse here and turn 180 and go back towards the actual direction of the track, unfortunately. But they're certainly all going on at the front of this field on the actual oval this time. And Phillip Howe into the lead of this race, and Dylan Legrad is really in with a shot of this one as well, being in P2 currently, getting a little bit up from Dylan at
there from Guard into position 1 now. Pace is still building up. That apron does seem to work, but you actually be racing hard. Other than that, the apron doesn't usually work around ovals. You guys may have raced a little bit more over racing might wake up to that by the end of this race. That was Daniel Aish trying to make it 3 wide as it's almost the wall there for Damien Westbrook.
Yes, certainly. As well, so knowing not to come that too bad of a position, and so is everybody else actually in that 4th or
they're actually on the brakes and dropping back to about 215. Just because they can sort themselves out. As we sort of expected, this race is a little bit cleaner to start with. Maybe 2 laps to go, then we'll start to see bumping down the front straights. It's not the right time to be starting to do that.
it's time to be doing the 4 wide, nearly 5 very marginal to ending in tears. Westbrook decides and on behind. Very much
Oh no! Oh no, that was silly. That was silly. Oh, and unfortunate there for Dane Priest. There goes his round. Powell's made his way through. Killer Powell now leads the race.
Yes, certainly is. Not quite sure why he squeezed him to the fence, but it is what it is, and unfortunately, he's come off second best, so it is what it is. But really, is going to be interesting to see what happens now with the fact that Philip Powell is leading this race. Nicholas Walsh there, and Nathan Verney currently pushing at Philip Powell, and Todd Maxfield there as well. So 4-car train really is a bit of a mixed up grid compared to what we've seen. Remember, these few drivers did start a little bit more towards the mid-pack as well, so they've started to make some good gains here, and they're going to be looking, and Verney's been turned.
Oh no. I believe that was Nicholas Walsh that just turned Verney's upside down, so he's now out of the race after setting the fastest lap. But then there were 6. We've got Philip Howe, Todd Maxfield, Nicholas Walsh, Aaron Dillon, Justin Howe and Daniel Aish, the 6 that are left in contention. Damien Westbrook still continuing on with some damage, so he's still pushing on. Dylan the Guard still going. Priest, Dalton and Verney all out of the race, but here comes Todd Maxfield to try and get to the lead of the race.
He's going to try and send it up to the inside, but he's not quite going to have the momentum. A little bit of door banging as well on the way through 3 and 4, nearly making more contact as well, but barely going to be able to hold on to it. And the drivers in 5th, 6th and 7th aren't too far away, and they're nearly on the tail of this train. So working together are those drivers, and they're going to be back in this fight very, very soon with how rapid they're catching up and how well they're working together currently. So they're going to be right on there, and Aaron Dillon is going to look to the inside of Maxfield, 3 wide on the way through turn number 1. He's going to end up actually getting into the lead of this race here.
Wow, what a move. Going to pay off by the looks of it for Aaron Dillon. Have a look at Aish through the middle. He was, 5 or 6 car lengths back? And we've got drivers out. That is Philip Howe out of the race, and also around was Aaron Dillon.
Yeah, Justin Howe somehow managed to keep on going, albeit using the Armco for a bit of support currently, but he's going to at least try and continue, or he's going to end up
He's done.
in the fence, and he looks like he's done, unfortunately. So it's down to 3 now for the race lead, with Maxfield, Aish and Walsh all scrapping it out with 5 to go here.
Yep. Across the line for halfway gone. And it's now between Aish, Maxfield, Walsh. These 3 are all that is left at the front of the field now. Oh no, make that 2. Daniel Aish is around and into the wall, and going to continue on, but he is into the fence, so it's now down to the teammates. And we've seen throughout this series, teammates don't mind a little bit of argy-bargy. They don't mind a little bit of a push and shove.
Yeah, certainly don't. They've raced each other as hard as they've raced everyone else, and certainly no team orders there as well. So it's certainly all game on between these two to see who's going to end up taking this one out and See if they can work together as well. Dwayne Priest isn't a million miles away, nor is Westbrook. So if these two come together, they'll actually be able to catch up, and if they can get close enough to each other, they'll be able to work together as well. But certainly these two are not leaving anything on the table, and they are not leaving an inch between them as well.
Bump the wheels, and you can hear it in my voice there. I thought that they were going to jump over each other and both end up in the wall, but they've got through it okay. Got a 25-second advantage at the moment to Damien Westbrook. Get updated timing up on the screen now, because this is where the finish line is and the pit lane is. Actually puts drivers that end up out of the race or end up in the pits ahead of everyone else, just so that the timing when drivers cross the line is correct. So that is why the timing goes a little bit haywire when we see people crashing.
See, they're actually starting to bump draft each other as well and work together a little bit more. Max getting a little bit loose there after contact between himself and Walsh. Walsh trying to give him a bit of a hurry up and getting loose again down the front straight. Needs to try and square him up a little bit better than he is currently. And Damien Westbrook can end up catching up as well if they're not careful. But you certainly sit quite a ways behind. So we'll see what happens and whether these two are going to be able to hopefully not take each other out.
Also just seen that Maxfield's having a tech issue as well, so disappeared for a little moment. We're back with them now, so Walsh behind Maxfield here. 3 to go.
Yeah, Walsh is actually lifting ever so slightly while he's behind Maxfield as well, but he's going to try and go for the pass here to get into the lead of this race. And they're actually going to catch up to lap traffic here very, very quickly with the way things are going. So they're going to have to be careful and try not to get held up too badly when they get on by this lap traffic. We've got Dwayne Priest just ahead him, and then Justin Howell, Dylan Legrad, and Nathan Verney up the road after him. So they're going to have to try and work together here to try and find a way on by lap traffic.
I think the big thing is not just lap traffic. These guys are all battling for position as well. There's a 3-car battle for 5th in this group. Verney, Legrad, and Aisha all together. Well, when they get to them, they could also latch on and have their own little battle within this lead battle. That could spell a little bit of disaster for Walsh and Maxfield, depending on how this plays out. And of course, probably a little bit of bruised egos going on too, so they could even end up in an accident if they come across the wrong car.
Yeah, certainly. It's very, very possible. And what this is actually going to do is it's actually going to help some of these lap cars catch up to those ahead of them, like the likes of Dwayne Priest. Going to tuck up right in behind Nicholas Walsh here and to give him a little bit of a push to try and work together with them. And they're going to actually start to catch up with Justin Legrad and Verney as well very, very quickly with the way they're going. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. It's really going to mix these further back battles up a lot.
Maxfield's got to be careful too, because Priest is now pushing Walsh. He continues to do it. Maxfield could bend a little bit further back. Just look at the live speed here. This is Maxfield, who is 3rd car back, a 4-car train. In saying that, they're all actually catching that lead group very, very quickly. He's going to get to 230. He's going to get 226 k's per hour. 27, just as he eases off. And have a look at the speed advantage he's got over Justin Howe. That's fairly big.
Yeah, it certainly is quite a big advantage, and then you even compare that to the likes of Legrad and Verney just ahead of them as well, and they're about 7 to 8 kilometres slower on the way into turn number 3 as well, so rapidly catching the lap cars ahead of them is this lead train, and it's going to be white flag this time by, so there's going to be any moves made between the likes of Maxfield and Walsh. It's going to have to happen very, very soon, and he's going to need to hope that draft is in there. It's a big hit into the wall for Walsh.
That is Walsh's race over, so it's Todd Maxfield who leads this race by pretty much a full lap. That was not what we were expecting at the start of this night.
Yeah, we certainly weren't expecting that at all, and it was contact between himself and Legrad, unfortunately. Maxfield's been involved in an incident as well.
This race has just taken a big turn. Maxfield's got to get himself onto the circuit. He's going to get stuck on the wrong side of the fence. He'll have to escape back to the pit lane. Damien Westbrook could get handed the race here.
Yeah, he certainly is going to get
Just
handed the win. He is going to get handed the win because Walsh is still on the wall. Maxfield's not going to be able to recover, and Philip Howell's well behind Westbrook, so
Oh, hang on.
this is going to be a big one here.
Maybe,
Or maybe not.
Maxfield's got himself back on the circuit. Westbrook is coming. This is going to be very, very tight.
Yeah, he's not going to get himself going though,
Oh, no.
unfortunately. Oh, that's nearly close.
So Westbrook now will have the win of this race. He just has to get through the final corner. Damian Westbrook from nowhere going to steal this win. Got started on pole. Going to somehow come through and pick up the feature win from nowhere.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think anyone would have expected, after what happened earlier on in this race, that anyone other than Walsh or Maxfield were going to win this race based on how it was going. But certainly it's taken a complete and utter 180 in terms of what's going to happen. Westbrook's actually going to win this one in the end.
Congratulations, Damian Westbrook. How about a Bradbury moment? That is one right there. Picks up the win. Rod Maxfield will get it home in second. Philip Howe, remember, he was upside down halfway through this race. He's going to come back and get yet another podium. 3 podiums for the night.
Yeah, it certainly is. And he'll finish in a very, very solid spot as well. Possibly even win the round as a result of the man who did win the first race, Dwayne Priest, finishing down the order. It's going to probably be very close, but he'll at least get second, if not third, in the round.
And plus Walsh, I'm guessing just by the fact that he's still sitting there literally in the wall, is rather disappointed with how that one played out. But final race results for this special event here at Monza. Westbrook, Maxfield and Howe, your top 3. Nathan Verney in Nicholas Walsh does officially get classified in 5th position because he did start the final lap of the race. Dylan Lagarde in 6th with Priest, Howe, Aish, Dylan and Dalton. The rest of the field, Kate Donnelly, did not take the start. What a night of racing that was. That was very, very fun. And we will be back to do it all again next week. Another special event, I believe, next week. I've got to double check because there was... Just fill a moment for me.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next week if there's another event, and looking forward to it, especially with a few more cars hopefully next time out. It was a little bit unfortunate to see only 12 cars, but certainly was quite a fascinating race overall in general, and a little bit carnage-filled, but nevertheless it was a very, very exciting and very entertaining.
It was, and I believe we do have another special. I'll confirm that, and it will be on our Facebook page. We'll have some details about that, and we'll share some posts throughout the week. But if you do want to be a part of the series, the link is in the Facebook chat and also in YouTube video description. So if you do want to be a part of it, jump onto the Discord, have a chat with the guys. They are awesome. We'll help you out, get you into the series. Cam, thank you for jumping in. Shout out to Reese. Yes, that's right. We're at Crandon next week. We are doing another special event. I was right. Crandon next week. We're having a bit of a splash on the dirt. Shout out to Reese Gardner, who couldn't make it for tonight. He's very, very disappointed that he couldn't be here, but he will be back next week. So, Cam, you and Reese will have that one at Crandon next week. Looking forward to it. But on behalf of the entire team behind the Pro Truck Showdown and here at SimSpeed TV, we thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?